Cloud. Okay, hi everyone. My name is Candace Gibbons, not Stephanie Mize, but she couldn't hop on and she asked me to record this. Um, all right. So I read the book Time, Money, Freedom by Ray and Jessica Higdon. Well, actually, I listened to it on Audible, and I realized after I volunteered to share the points that I hadn't actually taken notes. So between Amy and myself today, I scrambled. I took a lot of notes. So you're going to see me looking down. I'm going to try to summarize as much as I can. I'm going to talk pretty fast. So don't worry, at the end or even afterwards, I can go in Team Believe and like drop the 10 rules, like a visual of the 10 rules in there. And then the replay will be available if you want to go back in for the individual steps under each rule. But basically, they start the book off by telling us that if 2020 taught us anything, that it's more important than ever to support yourself on your own terms. Basically, having some sort of additional stream of income to be able to work from home. Since we are not completely out of that realm, this is important for you to know as a business owner, because you can use this when you're communicating to people, when you're doing your reach outs and talking to people about this gift that we have. And so there are 10 rules that they suggest that you live by, not necessarily only for your business, it's for your life, your time, your freedom, your family, your personal, everything. So the first rule is to get upset. And they said that the ultimate risk is living your whole life doing what you don't want to do. And it's time to live a life you actually enjoy, not one you simply tolerate. It's time to get upset. So you need to let go of complacency, whether that be in your everyday, like set of things or your business or whatever it is. You need to figure out what's holding you back. And the best way to do that is to focus on accountability, keeping yourself accountable. So the next step under getting upset is to recognize your challenges. And you need to write down whatever it is that's holding you back. Is it fear? Is it time management? Whatever that is, write it down, because when you write it down, you're going to be able to bring attention to it and awareness, and then you're going to be able to plan your steps going forward, which is the next step under getting upset, is to establish the next steps. Even if it's something small, you want to devote blocks of your day to figuring out how you're going to do it, exploring your options, and then doing it. And this is the point in your journey that they say you need to start sweeping all your excuses away. If you don't have time, you need to wake up earlier. If you watch TV in any sort of a capacity, you need to stop watching the TV. If you are sleeping in on weekends, don't sleep in on weekends. If you're listening to music when you're driving in your car, listen to some personal development instead. Just find little ways that you can make changes and start doing it, start implementing it. Stop giving yourself that excuse of, well, I'm not a morning person. Change it. So they said, don't worry about what others are thinking. It's truly focus on what is good for you, and complaining about your situation will never change it. Each night, you should write down when you're going to do this and what you will be doing for the next day so that you can hold yourself accountable. So since you have, like, you know what's holding you back, you know what your action plan is going to be, you need to write it down, like what your goals are for the next day, and then start holding yourself accountable to that and start your journey one step at a time. They used a pretty good quote from Oprah, and she says that life is not a dress rehearsal. You are on stage right now. So you need to start living your life as though you're on stage and start committing to each and every single day. The second rule that they apply is plucking your weeds. So you need to stop asking yourself, am I worthy, or do I deserve better in my life? Because the answer is yes, you definitely do, and you definitely are. So the different steps for this rule are: analyze your own attitude. What makes you happy? What makes you unhappy? What causes you to have bad moods? What are you dreading? And you know what? I just realized, sorry guys, ADD, but I'm in gallery view. So hopefully that didn't affect the recording. Anyway, back to the analyze your attitude. Then you want to analyze your time. Literally, I think I had heard a training from Joey and Kyle Kimbrough on this, like track your time. Like if you think you know what it is, you really truly don't until you write down every little thing that you do in a day. And then do that for like a day or two. And then you'll see like, oh, wow, I really did catch myself scrolling after I, went to the bathroom or whatever. And then you can start using that to develop your plan for yourself. Another way to pluck some weeds is to analyze your relationships. If it is not serving you, then you need to find a way to pluck, maybe not necessarily the person, but the attitude that they are giving you surrounding either your business or your time or your life or any changes that you are making. And you need to reshape your thinking around that and not worry so much about it. Don't give it, even if they were even talking like, even if it's your spouse, obviously you can't pluck your spouse out of your life, but you can open up your communication and let them know like, this is really important to me and I need you to be behind me in this. So, and they suggested writing down a list of all the people in your life that are standing in your way with moving forward in business or your time management or money management or whatever it is. And then you're going to focus and pluck the attitudes, how you respond to their attitudes. And this is a time that they said you want to be reminded to be grateful for what you do have. So with the whole gratitude towards, let's say it's your spouse who's not supporting you in your business, you need to write down all the attributes and personality traits that they have that you do love, and focus on that and being appreciative of that. And then when you go and you start talking to them, you can say, I really love that you love me and you care so much about me and you don't want to see me fail. However, I really know that this is going to do X, Y, and Z for me. And what can we do to get on the same page or something like that? The next thing in plucking your weeds is don't sell yourself short. We kind of already talked about that. You deserve your dreams. And if someone doesn't believe in your dreams, you can write their names down too. If that someone is you, they suggested writing your own name down because you need to check yourself and get yourself plucked out of the way, however it is. If it's your attitude, change your attitude. Analyze your process and what are you doing every day for work? Can you pluck this? Can you streamline it? Can you have someone else do it? So even if you can't do it right now, they were saying, write down everything that you do in a day for work, like even if it's unloading the dishwasher. And then what can you delegate now? And then maybe that you might have something down the road that you can work towards delegating to someone else later on. Identify your perfect solution. And that's kind of like what you would do down the road as well. And then tailor your execution to match your perfect solution. So one of my goals is to be able to hire cleaning help again. I have had it before we moved and now I'm not able to have it because our expenses are way, way higher than they were. So that is one of the things that I am working towards. So now I need to match my activities with my work with my solution of being able to hire somebody. Next, you want to, the third rule is to take your why and turn it into your vision. Why do you want more money, more time, more freedom? What will you do with them? Who do you want to be? How do you want to be remembered? And who you want to become in order to accomplish that why is not an external thing, it's an internal thing. And the actions that you take to get there. Sorry. Do you keep planning? Oh, don't keep planning to plan. That was another huge thing. Get into action, even if it's messy. Do something that's going to start moving you forward, because I know you've probably all heard it. There is such thing as called analysis paralysis, where you can overanalyze and you can keep planning to plan to plan to plan. And if you're not actually talking to people, you're not going to actually make money. And they suggested writing your vision at the beginning of every day, at the beginning of your journal entry, because that'll keep it in the forefront of your mind. And it's kind of, if you've done any mindset work, then you probably already know about visualization. But when you start writing it out too, it helps you to like believe it and know you deserve it, and be willing to let your vision evolve. Okay, rule number 4 is changing your relationship with money. A lot of us probably heard negative things surrounding money as we were younger. I don't know about you guys, but I kind of did. People with money are greedy. Money makes you greedy. And that's not true. Money is not the root of all evil. It actually allows you to live the life you want and to be able to help your community and give back. And if we don't have a better example than our company, I don't know who there is out there to be a perfect example of that. As this company keeps growing, they keep doing more and more and more for the communities. They keep doing more for us market partners. You guys were back in, I mean, if you're watching the replay in January, February, and March 2021, we're back in Smart Start Restart. Like, how do they even have this money? You know, like, they're giving us back money, and how are they making money? But so you want to look to, in order to change your relationship with money, I'm going to say the word money, and you need to write down the first feeling that you get when you hear the word money. Is it happy? Is it upset? Is it frustrated? Is a little bit of everything. You want to dig deep, and you really want to start looking at that and working through that. The second thing you want to do is communicate with your spouse or partner about it, about how you feel and what you want money to do for you, and how you want use money to reach your goal. And if you don't have a spouse, you can just pick a friend and start talking to them and tell them why you validate their opinion or value their opinion. And then that's going to validate them to share with you their ideas as well. Then you want to set up a financial plan. How do you want your money to work for you? And you should take into consideration how you feel about it and how you want it to work for you when you're devising your plan. So your financial plan can be more than just a budget. It can be like a budget plus what you're going to do with maybe giving to your community. I know Amy's really huge on Wealth Wednesday, and just doing something small every single week. And they basically were talking about how money is an energy, and it's the manifestation of the value that you provide to the marketplace. And I've read another book. Actually, I've read 2 other books about this, The Secret of the Millionaire Mind and The Go-Giver, which Ryan had done a training on. And both of them talk about the more you give, the more you're open to receiving. So this is kind of along those same lines. And then the next step under this rule is to work on your money mindset constantly. There's courses, seminars, you can watch stuff on YouTube, you can listen to podcasts, and you just want to improve how you think and what you do with money. And don't be afraid to communicate about money. And that's pretty much the gist of that one. And you want to be willing, with the money as well, you want to be willing to invest in yourself and your business. So in the beginning, he was talking about how he really didn't have much money to invest into it, but he went on YouTube and used free trainings there up until he grew his business to where, well, actually they grew their business to where they could start investing in courses or coaches or things like that. And they were talking about how you might be a little hesitant on that, but investing keeps you current and it keeps you prepared so that your mindset and skill set expands. So it's it's a way to keep your business growing as well by investing in yourself and your business. And tossing judgment out to the side. Don't worry about what people are going to think. Don't worry about any of it, really. Just in your own head. So, because sometimes the fear of the judgment stops us in our tracks and makes us do something else. And they were like, nope, flip that first initial reaction 180 degrees and stop in that moment and think, okay, what would someone opposite of that think? And pick the one that is going to help you go further. And you need to make it personal. So just like when we have clients, and it's recommended that we find out what those clients need and what they value, and then use that when we're talking to them about our products. And that's going to help them invest in us and invest in our products and in our business. It's going to help them see the value if we are putting the value in them as well, making it personal on their level. And then rule number 5 is going to be build your mindset. You need to practice, take action, and get out there. And you need to step out of the cage of approval. You don't need to be waiting on, what others think. Don't let it hold you back. Give yourself permission to prove all the naysayers wrong and just do it. And then practice not being liked. Practice being rejected. And no matter what you do, there will always be someone who doesn't like you. Even if you're the nicest person in the world, they use this example. There's going to be someone out there who doesn't like you because you're so nice. So you need to just get out there and practice. And they recommended actually writing down a list of names of people you think are going to tell you no. And then just go ask them so that they tell you no, so that you hear it and you face it and you go ahead and get comfortable with that rejection. Actually, if you don't know much about Ray Higdon, when he was really working his business, his network marketing business, he would go for 20 no's, not even 20 reach outs, 20 no's a day. And then that just helped him be better at responding to it because he wasn't afraid of it anymore. Now here's one of those double-edged swords of being your own boss, is the fact that you are a boss and you're also the employee. So you want to make sure you remember that you're managing yourself. Manage your time, raise your expectations of yourself, and think about, like, if you were hiring someone to do your work for you, what all would you want them to do? And make a list of that. And then hold yourself to those same expectations and think, like, am I doing it? Am I earning my salary this week? Am I earning my salary today? And be the perfect employee. So you should start each day with a deep breath and, okay, what are the tasks at hand? And what would your boss tell you to do? And when would you have to do those by? And then you do that. And you want to judge yourself by your output as an employee, not your freedom as a boss. And we often tout, like, hey, I get to be my own boss. But one of the downsides of that is that no one's checking us to see if we punched the time clock today. So make sure you are, exactly, Amy, would you hire you? Make sure you are living up to your expectations that you would have if you were the employee, because you are. They said the key to consistency is make yourself accountable to yourself and write down all that stuff and then do it. And track your activity, because you won't be able to review yourself if you don't track it. So they suggested every 3 months you review yourself. And you do that by pulling out your trackers, whatever tracking device you come up with or you find, and be honest when you're doing that and decide, like, if you met your expectations or not. And where the areas where you did not meet your expectations, then they challenge you for the next 3 months. You focus on those areas and you improve those areas, so that on the next review, you're meeting those expectations and you can keep fine tuning that. And then they also suggested decide what your salary is, right? Like your annual salary, and then figure out what that would be for your time, and then decide, is your work that you're doing like worth that hourly pay, and try to keep it as much up there as much as you can. And always create new opportunities. Be open to opportunities of meeting people and letting go of uncertainties. So like right now with COVID, it's a little harder, but we have social media. Look for people out there, find people that you connect with, start building relationships. And they said, focus on what you can do instead of what you can't. And if you're looking for opportunities, then they will start arising. And there was one crazy story in the book that one guy who was trying to work his business on top of actually, I think he had like a 60-hour work week. He would literally talk to people. He would go to find the busiest gas stations. And while he was pumping gas, because he had a family of many kids, he would go and literally just start talking to the person pumping the gas at the opposite pump right across from him and say, would you be open to earning an income from home? If they say no, you guys, guess what? You're never going to see him again. Who cares? Right? Okay. Rule number 6, prepare the ground. So with this, we have online marketing for everyone that's on this call. So I'm really going to focus on that part of it. You need to look at what type of people you're selling to, who's your market, and you want to start building a following around your interest point, and make sure you have passion and excitement, because those sell. And you want to build a relationship with your audience and solve problems that they have, and share things that you're learning along the way. So even tonight, you could use this training, any points that you're writing down, and you can say, hey, I was on a call tonight where my team was talking about this book written by Ray and Jessica Higdon, Time, Money, Freedom. And here's some of the key points that I learned, and I just wanted to share it with you. And that is what is known as invest, learn, teach. And you are investing your time into being here tonight, and you're learning these rules, and then you can teach them to your network, and you're providing them with value. And they suggest creating online videos and content daily or weekly, and being consistent with that. Ray has done an online video every single day for 11 years, you guys, 11. And they talked about at one point how, and I'm getting ahead of myself, but 5 months in, he didn't have like anybody viewing it, no one commenting it. And he could have easily just canceled it, right? He could have been like, all right, well, I'm not getting anything out of this, but he was committed to not quitting, and he kept going. And literally within that 5th month, they said he got like one of the biggest guys on his team who has helped their team a lot. So, so make sure you're giving good content, and doing some sort of a demonstration before and after, or teaching a lesson, providing value. And you want to be thinking like an information marketer always, and not just information about a flash sale, about our products, or about hair tutorial, or sharing before and afters and stuff like that. And you want to document the ups and the downs, so that even if you're new and you haven't done much, you can say, okay, I was just thinking about this. What was my down? Like tonight for me, for instance, I'm doing a challenge called 75 Hard. And we went and picked up our kids halfway today from here to Delaware. And I almost forgot my outside workout. And I was like, oh my goodness. And I still needed to finish listening to some of these chapters in this book. So I popped my AirPod in, wrapped myself up, went outside. But I mean, that's something I can talk about. Like, oh, it was almost a down, but I quickly got back in gear and said, all right, you can do this. Wrap up, put the AirPod in, take your gloves, and write notes while you're walking around on the back patio. So you want to learn from others, and make sure you always revisit your vision with that. Okay, rule number 7. Sorry, I'm trying really hard to stay within the 30 minutes, but it's gonna be a little bit over. Rule number 7, create successful habits. And this is where your DMO is going to come in handy. It's not an afterthought. It's not something that you can do sometimes and not others. It's called a daily method of operation for a reason. It should be daily. It is integral to your success. And for everyone who's heard John Maxwell's trainings, and if you haven't, you should go listen to those. It's literally chopping the tree every single day. And he talks about like going to chop that tree, even on his birthday, even on Christmas, even on New Year's, like every day, every day. And one of the quotes in there was, you can be as ready and motivated as anyone out there, but it means nothing if you don't do the work. So 3 things that Ray does every single day. He does 1 video a day, which is marketing. He does reach outs to a certain number of people, which for him, it was a certain number of no's every day. So that's prospecting. And then the 3rd thing is self-development in some way. So, you want to make sure you're learning, prospecting, and marketing. Those, and you should be doing it, whatever your daily method of operation is, you should be doing it so much so that when people hear it, they're like, oh yeah, that's really going to work. Not like, oh, I don't know if that's going to work. And commit to what you know is going to make you successful. There's always going to be days when you feel like you can't. So you want to make sure you just keep moving forward and keep your vision straight and just stay consistent. And one of the challenge or suggestions there is to create your first DMO. If you haven't already, there is a suggestion of IPAs or income producing activities in the files section of Team Believe. I think that there may be some in the back office as well, but just think about yourself. What can you do to reach out to people? What can you do to market in some shape or fashion? And what can you do to learn something every single day? And this is where they suggest focusing on activity goals instead of results goals. And I can tell you firsthand, like, this is huge. Instead of saying, I'm going to reach out to 20 people in an hour, or instead of saying you're going to reach out 20 people, you can say, I'm going to reach out to people for 20 minutes, 3 times a day, or however many, whatever works for you. But you can put that check because you can control the activity of reaching out for 20 minutes. You might not be able to control the results of like what the 20 people, like, I'm going to get 3 customers by the end of the week. You can't control that, but you can control how many minutes you're spending. You can also control how many people you're reaching out to, but sometimes we set bigger or smaller goals, you know, like we could reach out more, or we should probably try to tone it down a little bit with the time that we actually have. So if you focus on the activity, it's a little bit easier for you to like feel successful, is what they were basically talking about at this part. Okay. Keep investing in your greatest asset, which is you. They suggest writing 3 things you're grateful for every single morning and doing at least a minimum of 15 minutes of self-development. And if you watch any of the millionaire videos from the MDC, almost every single one of them talks about how they do personal development, and it is very, very important. And you want to also make sure you are establishing a schedule that fits the time you have, not the time that you want to have. So a lot of us could sit here and want to have, like, I want to have 2 hours a day for my business, but in reality, you may not have that. So make sure you are looking at your time and blocking off the time, like, okay, this is the time I really have, and being intentional with that time. And social media is the easiest way to reach the largest number of people in history. We've already talked about that. And you want to focus on what works and expand on it. Work smarter, not harder. Spend time you have to get as many results as possible. And you want to learn how your business works and understand where your money is coming from and where it's going. So you want to make a schedule to look at that, whether it's monthly or quarterly or whatever's going to help you. And they suggested also for anyone who's just getting started in their business, don't drop a lot of money on like business cards and this and that and the other, because you're going to think you're getting ready to work your business when really the number one thing you can do is talk to people. And if you don't know how to do that yet, ask your sponsor to help you. That's what we're here for. We will hold your hand and we will help give you recommendations and walk you through it. The next step is breaking bad habits. So you want to stop thinking like a corporate drone and start thinking like a CEO. Do the work you would expect. And then don't fall into perfectionism. You want to learn as you go. We've heard learn as you earn, and get out there and adjust it. And so basically, like, stop over learning. And knowledge is not power without commitment. So you actually have to start committing to the action and doing the action as well. Okay, rule number 8, do, don't plan, and using tools to guarantee your results. So do now, troubleshoot later, big theme of this chapter. Revenue is business and lists are not. So you can make all the lists you want, but until you actually start talking to people, you're not going to bring in revenue. So make sure you are doing the do and not just planning to do the do. Avoid analysis paralysis by taking massive action. Use trackers on your money and your time and how you spend both of those. And you want to make sure you have a mindset of jumping right in. Don't wait till you're ready, just do it. And then they talked about how they have a ready, fire, aim concept and mentality instead of a ready, aim, fire. So like they were saying, they got ready and then they like just start doing it, and then they adjust and they tweak it as they go, rather than planning, and then you're like, okay, well, I'm going to try this. This is probably going to do this. And you start investigating it, but you can only go so far until you actually get your hands dirty and you actually start working on that. So some of the toolkits they recommended are scheduling resources like Google Calendar, Calendly, Evernote, but even paper and pencil. And they said that one way you can block your time is to color code it by 3 different colors. Red is never work time. It's family time, a day job. Commuting can be red or yellow depending on your actual commute, sleeping, and any time you're spending socializing outside of work. Yellow is the second color, which is maybe work time. Like while you're folding laundry, you can listen to personal development or whatever, multitasking it while you're driving. Sometimes you can listen to a podcast as well. Green time is your free time, and this is the time you will do all your action items on your DMO list. And they said, be careful not to let your green time turn into yellow time. So like, make sure your green time is like, I'm getting my work done. When you're looking at your day, see if you can work in allotments of time rather than tasks. And I kind of already talked about that earlier. Checklists. There are apps out there that you can use. There's like Reminder, To Do, Evernote, I think he said had checklists in it, or you can just have it on paper, but you want to make sure you have it with you and you can use those each day to hold yourself accountable. One small checklist that they had for someone who's focusing on sales would be talk to 10 new people on social media, make a social media video or post, and read 10 pages of a personal development book, do 5 follow-ups, and make 1 high-level connection. And then if you have a team, send some sort of helpful video or content or motivation, or check in like in a team huddle. Then I already said that earlier, stay consistent, 1 result, social media. You want to track your results too. I don't know if any of you follow Ray, but if you do, he has a 90-day journal that is really good for tracking. And at the end of it, it also has a little area to mark like how many new customers you made that day. And Amy can help put in the chat what else is in there that you can track on that. And I think you can, if I'm Amy can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you can just buy the tracker even if you're not a member of Rank Makers, maybe. But I'm sure you could probably Google activity tracker. Honestly, there's so many social network marketing companies out there that you could probably find one out there similar. Okay, she said yes, you can buy the 90-day activity journal to keep track of the people you're reaching out to and to keep track of the results, like the customers that you actually got and when they were from. You want to make sure you're following up, make sure you're asking questions, like, and you close. You can ask them to close. You can say, like, what did you like best? Are you ready to get started? Don't be afraid to ask those questions, because if they say no, you can say, well, what's holding you back? Are there any questions that you have that I haven't answered? Stuff like that. All right, rule number 9, have a commitment strategy, not an exit strategy. Okay, you want to, if you aim for failure, you guys, you will succeed. And by failure, I mean something even as simple as, okay, well, maybe I'm going to try this business for like 3 months. I'm going to try it during my Smart Start. No, you need to be committed. You need to see the vision, get yourself long-term committed, and come in and give it your all, and don't stop until you have success. So that's like what they did talk to. I'm totally again. Okay, yeah, I'm getting ahead of myself again. He was talking about 2 words he adopted during all of this were until and despite. Until success and despite any obstacles. So he is committed until he is going to be successful, and he's committed despite any and all obstacles. And you just have to commit to never quit. Just keep going. You have to understand what the ultimate risk is again, and how here's where it comes. Like, if you find that you're not hitting that commitment every day, revisit your vision, revisit your goals, figure out what's blocking you, what's holding you back, and pluck those weeds as needed. So like this whole process is like a living, breathing thing. And at any time that it starts coming back, to a stagnant position, you need to make sure you're revisiting. All right. Rule number 10, make an impact. You want to think about what causes you want to contribute to, what you have a passion for, and then realize that this is bigger than just you and your family. This is you being an inspiration to others. This is making an impact in your network, making an impact in your community, making an impact in the world. And don't give up on that commitment. All right, that was it for the notes. Thank you so much for giving me 8 extra minutes. Sorry, I was a lot of information I was trying to cram in there.
You did a great job. And, it is a lot of information, but you really did a great overview. And I know I just texted Amy earlier and said I was looking for it as you were talking, because it's a book that I have not read, and it's not even on my list. So, but what's funny? So today, not funny, it's just, it seems like the last week that everything that I'm hearing is all boiling down to the same thing. And I had a coaching call today with our RSD, Erica, and she was really talking about all of these things. And what makes me realize, what I realized from all of this is that all the successful people do all these things. So why are we going to sit there and, question it and fight it and not do it? And so I really think that this is a great book to have, just for, helping anyone out that's brand new, or even if you're seasoned like a lot of us and been in for a while. It's just really good reminders, and it boils down to best practices, and when you were talking in the beginning, that was like my jam. I'm all about time blocking and delegating and getting rid of stuff that doesn't matter when you're trying to build. And that's exactly what that was hitting on. Your red, yellow, green were my pebbles, rocks, and sand, and so I just feel like you can't go wrong with implementing any of this.
I agree. And if you have Audible and you're like me and you got like the monthly thing for credit, it was an easy listen, and they read it themselves. They each take turns with the chapters, so it's both of their voice. Super easy.
You put, oh wait, is that somebody just put it in there? Okay.
Somebody put a link to the book in there.
Okay.
But you can just look on Audible, Time, Money, Freedom. And
Okay.
I'll show you what it looks like actually, because I still have it pulled up right here. It's like blue. Let's see. It's like a light blue.
Okay. Perfect. Does anybody have any questions that they would like to ask Candace or Amy? You can unmute yourself. I didn't see any in there, just some thank yous and things like that, but and confirmations. But if you have any questions, let us know.
Yeah, Amy's talking about that. There are a lot of examples in there too. So even though you had my overview tonight, I highly recommend reading it, because when they're talking to you about some of the examples, you're like, oh, wow, yes. And more than just the gas station one that I mentioned.
Well, and like she said, it's not just about business related. The things that affect your whole life.
Yes, very much so.
Very good.
I don't see any questions, so I will stop the recording.
All right. Well, thank y'all very